is where we make our stand.
Please support Steve McRae and Red's Rhetoric in their effort to make the great debate community an inviting and stimulating world to be a part of again. The links to their channels and Twitters will be below. If you're part of this community, you already know who Red's Rhetoric is. The foul-mouthed Floridian, most well known for his stunning videos of rocket launches filmed with high-powered zoom lenses, including one that recently reached and breached 1 million views, and for his no-nonsense methodology when it comes to debunking the cult of the Flat Earth. To give everyone a better idea of the person we'll be discussing today, here's a short montage to put some things into context.
You can verify the distance of the sun?
Correct.
Based off what?
Trigonometry? I will admit that flat earthers do have members all over the globe.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we agree.
And I'm sure there
One thing we all agree upon.
Will you admit, number one, that you admitted that the Earth looks flat upon sensation?
Upon sensation? What the hell does that mean?
Dude, I don't memorize everything Neil deGrasse Tyson says.
Then let me inform you. The Earth isn't fucking flat.
Today, I'd like to discuss why I believe Red's Rhetoric is the most effective threat to the Flat Earth community, why he wins every debate, and why his work is held in such high regard by the debunking community. First, Reds has done his own observations. This may be the most important aspect, really. Flat Earthers love to find excuses. Because there is such a mountain of evidence for Earth's spherical nature, they've developed a defense mechanism in which they have a myriad of excuses kept close at hand anytime they see any evidence. One of many is that we didn't do observations ourselves. No debunker on YouTube is among the 500 plus people who have literally been to space, and Flat Earthers will have the advantage on this for a long time yet. However, you don't need to go to space to observe Earth's curvature. In his attempts to do so, Reds has armed himself with the same weapons used by Flat Earthers, quality cameras and high-powered zoom lenses, and created an arsenal of evidence that is formulated and created specifically by him. He has numerous blink tests that reveal entire skylines hidden by bodies of water. He has dozens of rocket launches that show more than can be seen with the human eye, including endless examples of the pressure gradient of Earth's atmosphere at work. And recently, he even managed to do these observations live.
With the Nikon P1000, the flat earther camera of choice. That's what we see with the drone at, what was it, 400 feet?
400 feet.
400 feet? All right, perfect.
There we go. You're live now showing people that, so that's perfect.
This is what we see with the P1000 at, what we're saying?
Somewhere between 5 and 7 feet.
Between 5 and 7 feet above the water, right here. So.
Red, can you do something for me just to show everybody that it is actually live? Will you just swing your hand right in front of it so you can show that it's filming your hand?
There you go. I'll just flip you off.
How about this? How about Russian Vids tells us what to do? Hey, Russian Vids, how many fingers do you want me to hold up?
11.
Okay.
There's 10.
There's 10, and there we go, 11.
All right.
So,
good enough.
It's live. And as you can see, this is what we're seeing inside the, or with the Nikon P1000 right now. This is what we saw with the drone. As you can see a lot more of Tampa than you can with this view right here at max zoom.
These city-line zooms over large bodies of water are some of the best footage that's been produced by the flat-earth smacking community. Of course, their psychosis won't allow them to accept it, but it's there. Is Tampa Bay currently underwater in Red's footage? Either that, or there's something blocking the bottom of the buildings. Something called the curve of the Earth. The best part is, Red's doubled down with the drone footage. He's able to show more of the buildings from a higher altitude, as the drone is blocked by less of the curve of the Earth. So, let's see how Russian Vids responds.
Again, I said it a million times, it's due to perspective, how the human eye works.
Where in the equation for perspective, which it is a law, because it is a mathematical equation, where does the altitude of the observer come into that equation?
Well, again, when you're at ground level, it's like this. You could put a quarter at the end of a table, and due to your, how high your head is or your eye level is, it's gonna appear. It's gonna affect your how much you can see. So
let's break down what you're saying here about the law of perspective.
Yeah.
Those buildings are probably a half a degree big. They are not going to get bigger because the altitude of the drone gets higher. They are still going to be half a degree.
Yep.
Where is the rest of the buildings?
There's the image that you have to work with, Russian Vids. Where's the rest of the buildings?
Oh, let me ask you this, Reds. Where's the telephone? The bottom of the telephone pole when you look down the street. Why can't I see them?
Seriously, Russian? Seriously? Perspective again? How many times do we have to draw 2 straight lines to show you how this works? When an object vanishes, the parallel lines, or the top and bottom of the telephone poles, will disappear together at the same time. There is no part of perspective that says objects disappear bottom first. This is Russian Vids floundering like a dying fish trying to find an excuse for what he's being shown. And Reds knows this, leading to my second point regarding his effectiveness. He knows how to turn the tables. He's figured out the made-up rules that flurfs use to argue, and he can turn them around to show how a flat earther debunks themselves.
How far away should the telephone poles be? What was the distance you quoted about the telephone poles? 100 feet?
No, I didn't say 100 feet, man. Come on.
You said 100 yards about something.
100 yards. Okay,
yards.
so
100, 200.
so let's go ahead and debunk this live on air. So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to point to some people that are more than 100 yards away. Google Earth it if you want to confirm the distance. There's a little spit of land over here. These people are more than 100 yards away. And this guy who's fishing, I can see his feet clearly in the water.
That's
awesome. I'm gonna have attack, Reds.
Not only that, but I can also see the shoreline. So yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Russian Vids. So as you can see, I can see his feet quite well.
Reds, did you realize when you zoomed out that the buildings completely disappeared?
Now Russian is in real panic mode. He has absolutely no counter to what Reds has said, so he pivots to a completely different point, which he's also wrong about, but who would have guessed that? Another thing Reds is particularly good at is setting a trap. When a flurf makes a declarative statement that is demonstrably false, Reds smells blood in the water and he goes for it like a shark. Since Russian Vids, like most flat earthers, isn't particularly technology savvy, watch what happens when Russian says the buildings over the water have disappeared.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Still seeing it. 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 And zoomed out all the way. They're literally pixels on the screen, but I can still see them.
They are gone. Thank you, Red. This is live. You just confirmed flat Earth, Red.
What? You did the exact opposite. What are you on about?
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hear. Okay, so according to you, Russian Vids, you're saying they're gone from this image, correct?
Well, you zoomed in just a tad now, Red. Let's be honest.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Actually, try to make those buildings the same size as in my picture.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
I don't see any buildings.
Okay, you don't see any buildings from this shot, right?
Well, it's hard to see. It's kind of blurry. But,
now it's blurry. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and take a picture. There we go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in a metric fuck ton. Oh, look, I can see the buildings right there.
Yeah, there they are, the top. Now zoom back out.
From the same picture, dude. I'm not zooming in with the camera. The camera zoomed out. I'm zooming into the image itself, as indicated by this symbol right here.
Okay, I see it now.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let's move on, shall we? The absolute bane of the cult of the flat earth is mathematics. Math is called the universal language for a good reason, because it is always correct. Hello doesn't mean hello in every language, but 1 + 1 is always 2 in every language. Math wasn't an invention, but a discovery. And because math is always true, it always points to the globe, and Reds is fully aware of this. He's been particularly effective at using this to prove that Jeranism had no idea what he was talking about, and this was 4 years before the infamous "that's interesting" moment.
It's easy if you think math is reality, which it isn't, and
math is reality. Everything that you do has a mathematical principle to it, or can be described using mathematics. For example, your drive to work. I could describe your entire drive to work using nothing but mathematics.
How about my body? How about fire? Can you describe fire mathematically?
I can describe fire mathematically. Do you want to know temperature or compound? Because that's also using mathematics. Oh, is your body? Hey, tell me, what's your body temperature? Is it 98.6? Is it 98.6? I forgot. Was it 98.6? I think it's 98.6. Let's go on Google and check that out. Let's see. Oh, by the way, what's your blood pressure?
I have no idea.
Is it like 80/120 or something like that? You know, a fraction, a math. And let's see. What's your blood sugar level?
What Reds is saying here is completely correct. Math is a way to explain reality, everything in reality. A good example of this is computer programming languages. All of these languages, in one way or another, are simply mathematical formulas given to a computer as instructions. For instance, imagine you have Notepad open, and you click the red X in the corner. The computer understands this action as follows. If the document has been saved after all changes were made, close the program. If not, produce a menu that asks if you want to save the changes. When instructed the way a computer actually understands things, it looks something like this. This is all nothing more than math. Instead of numbers, the code uses a string, which is a collection of symbols that denote a value in the program. This is only a basic example of how math can explain literally everything in the universe. Another thing Reds is knowledgeable about is logical fallacies. I've explained these before in detail. See this video for more information. But these are basically bad arguments, and flat earthers are full of fallacies. If you don't familiarize yourself with these, it's possible your opponent can disarm you without actually disarming you. All you need to do is recognize where their argument doesn't make any sense. Let's have some fun while we listen to Reds call out Southern Israelites' fallacies as they happen.
But the first thing I want to point out to you is when you were addressing my equatorial telescope mount observation. Straw man. You made a total straw man of my argument. I wasn't talking about the observations that the telescope is making. I was talking about how the telescope was being used and the angle at which it had to be used based on its longitude and latitude, based on its position on the Earth. Because you do realize that it has a fallacy,
you have cited the Cavendish experiment as an authority, and the Cavendish experiment is based on Newtonian physics. Anyone here who is honest knows that's the case and knows that you are just buck dancing right now in front of all these people.
Yeah, you see that straw man you just blew away? That was amazing. How about you actually deal with the argument that I'm actually bringing up?
Saying the word straw man doesn't prove what I said was a straw man.
Actually, no. Describing how it's a straw man. And I will go ahead and describe it to you again. When I bring up the equatorial telescope mount and how it works, that does not rely on whatever the fuck Newton told us, and that does not rely on gravity. I don't care whether it's perfect or not. The fact is that it works for the
extension of gravity. It has to do with the relevance of gravity and centrifugal force.
And I don't care about gravity. Another straw man. So
that is not a straw man. That is
how
what
many straw mans are you actually going to build in this entire debate? You're not going to actually listen to anything I say. Why are you even here? You're engaged.
Did you or did you not cite the Cavendish experiment?
You are engaged in some debate, but you're not engaged in this debate.
And for the last point, let's take off the filters. If you've been watching with a young one, I'd say they should step out of the room right about now.
Bring your kids.
Okay, now that it's just the adults. Reds has a take-no-shit attitude. His tone of voice, his use of profanity, and his relentless insults are all on purpose. What this achieves is a kind of psychological shield. Not only does it reflect confidence, it shoots down a flat earther's attempts at ridicule. When you're talking to someone like Reds, it quickly becomes clear that typical flirf bullying tactics won't work on him. He isn't fazed, and he shouldn't be. This is how everyone should approach the subject. Remember, flat earthers are bullies. They are the intellectual equivalent of the jocks teasing the chess club. Know that you are smarter than them, and show that in your entire personality. So to sum up, Red's rhetoric is an example of how to debate not only flat earthers, but anyone effectively, because he follows the rules. Know the math, know the fallacies, set a trap, and stay confident. Let's close with some highlights of Red's most viewed video, the launch of the SpaceX Falcon Heavy, which he managed to film from the ground all the way to, well, back to the ground.
Lift off!
Separation.
Oh wow! Oh, you can see it. That is pretty cool. Separated. You see the two boosters? You see the two dots there? Oh, look at them burning now. Never mind. Dois pontinhos lá. Eles estão começando a burn.
Entry burn.
Here they come. Here they come. The burn. Oh wow! Look at that. One done. Oh yeah, they're gonna be at least a good like 5 seconds more. Yeah, they are. 6 seconds more probably. Oh, I don't know. Look how fast they're back.
Landing burn.
There it is. There it is.
I want to hear it explode.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah!
My camera's so lazy right now. Oh, they did it.
If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel, which is Dead Kennedy in Space. If you want to support me further, consider donating on Patreon or purchasing some of my work through Amazon or Teespring. Thank you, and I'll see you over the curve, Space Cowboys.
Lived there, on the mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam, in a vast cosmic arena.